Right now, though, Monty, top Republicans are raising the alarm on Biden's power plant regulations. Growing risks to electric reliability is what we're talking about. And political strategist and commentator for Young Voices, Zachary Yost, is here to tell us more. Zachary, thanks for jumping on and talking to us.
Thanks so much for having me.
So the element of raising the alarm on President Biden's power plant regulations, what are Republicans saying in Washington on this front?
Basically, there's a lot of concern about how these regulations are going to affect coal-fired power plants. And keep in mind that 60% of all of our electricity is generated by coal-fired power plants. And if these new regulations that sort of mandate expensive carbon capture technology are implemented, they're just a proposal right now, there's a lot of worry that plants that are sort of marginally profitable will end up going offline, and we won't really have a plan in place to fix that. So these Republicans are sort of trying to put the brakes on a little bit and say we need to talk about this, and they're calling for different sort of the Federal Energy Regulatory Committee to sort of have a say in what the EPA is proposing here.
Yeah, and that came in the form of a letter this week, right? So there are some top Republicans who are actually asking for this to start moving forward now. They want to see progress soon. Is there any timeline for when there could be more on this front, or is this something that could just drag on?
It could drag on. One point worth noting is that one of the senators involved in this is the Republican senator from West Virginia, but the Democrat senator from West Virginia, Joe Manchin, is vehemently opposed to this. And before the rule even came out, he issued a statement saying, if this rule is what I think it is, I'm going to oppose every EPA nominee that Biden puts down. So there is some room for something to happen. The Republicans also introduced a bill that would basically not allow the EPA to do this. So I'm not sure how that's going to progress, but there is some chance or some bipartisan movement on that.
Zach, you know what I always think about when I hear about this stuff? As they're talking about more power plant regulations, at the same time, they're also telling you run out and buy electric cars. And it seems like if everybody had an electric car and they went home and tried to charge it, but we don't have any power plants to make electricity, doesn't everything just kind of shut down at some point?
Yeah, that is the concern. One of the organizations that these senators cited is the North American Electrical Reliability Corporation, NERC, which works with the government a lot. And they issue a report every year on basically the danger of rolling blackouts and whatnot. And vast swaths of the country are at risk, especially during the summer. And partly it's due to heat, air conditioning and all that, but also weather events. It seems that if everyone's relying on electric cars, it's going to be huge stress on the grid. And also it's just going to be, risky. With gasoline, you don't have to be hooked up to the grid if there's some sort of disaster or something.
Yeah, well, lots to discuss. Certainly a lot of room here on this topic. And as you said, this thing could drag on. But some of the top Republicans trying to move it forward in Washington. Political strategist, commentator for Young Voices, Zachary Yost, thank you so much for coming on this morning.
Thanks for having me.